Honorable Valentin Rugwabiza. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Mumbengwegwi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Zimbabwe and co-chair of this conference, distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first begin by thanking our host, the government and people of India, for the warm hospitality accorded to me and the Rwandan delegation. We commend excellent arrangements for a productive and mutually beneficial third India-Africa Forum Summit. I would also like to thank our senior officials who have worked very hard on the outcome documents of the summit, especially the Joint Summit Declaration and the Framework for Strategic Cooperation. India and Africa, as said by many since this morning, enjoy a strong bond of friendship and partnership going back to hundreds of years. There has been a long history of trade and commerce, people-to-people connection, and cultural contacts between India and Africa. This summit goes a long way to further cement the invaluable relationship. Rwanda believes that we must seize this moment and build on this long and enduring connection for the mutual benefit and enhancement of the welfare and people of India and Africa. Since its inception in 2008, the India-Africa Summit, the India-Africa Forum Summit, has registered many achievements, many of which my country, Rwanda, has benefited from. Rwanda is pursuing a vision to be a middle-income country by 2020. This calls for significant investments in infrastructure, in energy, in agriculture, in agricultural transformation, in skills development, and building a knowledge-based economy. Programs under the first and the second India-Africa Forum Summit have contributed to our efforts in pursuit of this vision. Excellencies, the government-to-government partnership between India and Africa and the people-to-people relationship are both strong and vibrant. These partnership and relationship have encouraged leading business enterprises and business actors to come and take advantage of the numerous investment and growth opportunities offered by our continent. My country, Rwanda, is open for business with India and the rest of the world. We have created a conducive environment for business. Rwanda is ranked by the World Bank in its annual Doing Business rankings as one of the top global reformers, offering a competitive business environment. This offers opportunity for increased trade investment between our regions, between our continent and your country. Indeed, Indian entrepreneurs are among the top investors in a number of our countries, and in my own country, an Indian telecom company, Airtel, is among the top investors in ICT. Ladies and gentlemen, today we agree on a joint declaration and framework for strategic cooperation to be adopted by our heads of state tomorrow, hopefully. And these are indeed important documents. These are indeed important commitments. However, it is important that a prioritized, result-oriented, and very focused plan of action to guide implementation of this framework for cooperation in this summit be developed sooner rather than later. Otherwise, we run the risk of having excellent frameworks and documents that will not translate into the reality that we want to see transformed. Our common objectives and development challenges can be overcome by implementing the agreed priority programs with a sense of urgency and a renewed commitment. This is a shared objective, and Rwanda is committed to playing its part in making this a truly productive and high-impact partnership. Excellencies, the agreed areas of cooperation under the summit are aligned to Africa's own vision for transformation, to our Agenda 2063, and our 10-year implementation plan. They also conform to Africans' ambition of fostering African regional economic integration. And it's clear to us, it's clear to Rwanda, that as long as we will remain small markets, fragmented markets, it will be very difficult to build economies of scales and to bring the relationship we want with India to the level we want it to be. Distinguished participants, increased trade investment between our two parts of the world will ultimately be the real game changer in bringing our partnership to a new level. It is, if we want our partnership to be deepened, to be widened, and to have a longer and transformative impact on our people and economies, I think that's where we need to focus our attention, our energy in the few years to come. We need to make the best use of the platform offered by this summit, the exceptional platform offered by this summit, to explore in a concrete and practical way the actions that we need to undertake to boost trade and investment between India and Africa, but also to bring our partnership much closer and to bring it at a new level in this year and during this particular summit, take the commitment to do so. It is our responsibility, the responsibility of all of us here at this particular summit, present here for this particular summit. It is upon all of us to make this happen, to unleash the potential of our partnership and take advantage of the untapped opportunities that exist between our countries, between our continent and India. I would like to close by thanking again the government of India for organizing and hosting this high-level summit. I have absolutely no doubt that the outcome of these deliberations will go a long way to cement the bond of friendship and partnership between India and Africa. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable Rugwabiza, for your contribution, and apologize for being misled by the name Valentine. I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Dos Santos Ramos, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sao Tome and Principe. You have the floor, sir.
Excelência, Senhora Ministra das Relações Exteriores e dos Indianos da Diáspora e co-presidente do Conselho de Ministros do Fórum Índia-África, Excelência, Senhor Ministro dos Negócios Estrangeiros da República do Zimbábue e co-presidente do Conselho de Ministros do Fórum Índia-África, Excelências, Senhoras e Senhores Ministros dos Negócios Estrangeiros e Relações Exteriores e chefes de delegação da União Africana, Excelência, Senhor Vice-Presidente da Comissão da União Africana, minhas senhoras e meus senhores. Gostaria, em primeiro lugar, de agradecer, em meu nome pessoal e no da delegação que me acompanha, às altas autoridades indianas pelo acolhimento fraterno que nos foi reservado desde a nossa chegada e pelas excelentes condições postas à nossa disposição, o que, de per si, estou certo, contribuirá para o sucesso dos nossos trabalhos. É para mim motivo de grande satisfação, enquanto representante do Governo da República Democrática de São Tomé e Príncipe, duas pequenas ilhas situadas no coração do Golfo da Guiné, tomar parte neste importante fórum, o terceiro de género, que reúne altos dirigentes de dois espaços geográficos do globo, bem distantes fisicamente, mas muito próximos através da solidariedade e ações conjuntas empreendidas por ambas as partes ao longo dos anos. Senhora Co-Presidente, Senhor Co-Presidente, senhoras e senhores chefes de delegação, São Tomé e Príncipe, país que aqui tenho o privilégio de representar, sente-se honrado e tudo fará para dar a sua cota-parte na edificação deste espaço ímpar de concertação e de cooperação Sul-Sul, Índia e África. A Agenda do Desenvolvimento da África, denominada Agenda 2103, e a da Organização das Nações Unidas, muito recentemente aprovada pelos líderes dos nossos Estados, a Agenda 2030, conhecida como Objetivos do Desenvolvimento Sustentável, ODS, são instrumentos que deverão reforçar as bases da nossa cooperação para os próximos anos. A meu ver, estes dois instrumentos constituem guias orientadores imprescindíveis para o desenvolvimento do continente africano e da Índia. Quanto a São Tomé e Príncipe, apraz-nos constatar que o governo que tenho a honra de representar acaba de apresentar uma Agenda Nacional de Transformação para os próximos 15 anos, agenda essa submetida à apreciação dos parceiros de desenvolvimento e investidores internacionais num fórum denominado Primeira Conferência Internacional de Parceiros de Desenvolvimento e Investidores Internacionais de São Tomé e Príncipe, realizada nos dias 14 e 15 de outubro corrente em Londres. Importa referir que a visão que temos para o desenvolvimento do nosso país está alinhada com a Agenda 2063 e com a Agenda 2030. Assim, e para o efeito da implementação dessas duas agendas e da nossa agenda nacional, contamos com o apoio dos parceiros internacionais e a participação de investidores privados estrangeiros, dentre os quais o Governo e os investidores privados da Índia. Excelências, não tenho a menor dúvida de que este fórum constitui, de facto, um espaço de excelência para a cooperação Sul-Sul. Neste contexto, para que, de facto, essa vontade se traduza em realidade, devemos todos imprimir maior dinamismo à implementação das decisões e recomendações por nós adotadas. Apesar de não termos conseguido implementar o conjunto das decisões e recomendações adotadas na segunda cimeira do Fórum Índia-África, saudamos os progressos alcançados na implementação de alguns programas comuns. Saudamos, por outro lado, o facto dos documentos finais da presente conferência preverem a criação de mecanismos de avaliação e seguimento dos programas de cooperação, o que, no nosso entender, irá contribuir para o alcance de resultados muito mais a contento das duas partes. Por isso, estamos convencidos que setores como a educação, o reforço das capacidades, a energia, água, agricultura, infraestruturas e as novas tecnologias de informação e de comunicação devem continuar a merecer a atenção do nosso Fórum. São Tomé e Príncipe, não obstante atribuir importância à ajuda pública ao desenvolvimento APD, aposta seriamente no investimento privado como forma de alavancar a economia e contribuir para a redução da pobreza e crescimento econômico. Será de todo conveniente que este fórum atribua um papel cada vez mais crescente e ativo à cooperação empresarial. É, pois, imbuído desse sentimento de esperança, numa cooperação reciprocamente profícua, que termino estas breves palavras, augurando um futuro melhor para a parceria estratégica entre a Índia e a África. Viva a cooperação Sul-Sul. Muito obrigado pela vossa atenção.
Thank you, Sao Tome and Principe, for your statement. And I now give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Manke Ndiaye, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Senegal. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mouben Guigui, ministre des Affaires étrangères du Zimbabwe, Madame le ministre Sushma Swaraj, ministre des Affaires étrangères de l'Inde. Madame le ministre, je voudrais tout d'abord vous dire combien nous avons apprécié l'accueil particulièrement chaleureux et les délicates marques d'attention dont ma délégation et moi-même sommes l'objet depuis notre arrivée ici en Inde, pays qui est uni au continent par de solides liens historiques et avec lesquels nous partageons les mêmes idéaux d'humanisme, de démocratie et de paix. En effet, l'Afrique comme l'Inde connaît aujourd'hui des performances économiques importantes qui la placent comme la région où la croissance économique est la plus importante dans le monde. De même, l'Inde et l'Afrique sont confrontées aux défis de la pauvreté, du changement climatique, de la gouvernance mondiale, du déséquilibre du commerce international, du terrorisme et de l'extrémisme violent. Au plan politique et diplomatique, l'Afrique et l'Inde jouent des rôles importants sur la scène internationale, rôle qui pourrait davantage se renforcer si notre coopération politique se développe au niveau des instances ou organisations internationales en s'appuyant sur des mécanismes de concertation régulière et efficaces sur les questions d'intérêt commun. L'impact d'une concertation diplomatique, fruit d'une coopération politique volontariste, serait considérable sur des dossiers comme le changement climatique, la gouvernance, les négociations commerciales, entre autres. Dans cet esprit, ce sommet doit être un cadre privilégié pour des engagements forts et déterminants de part et d'autre, pour donner au partenariat entre l'Afrique et l'Inde un nouveau tournant décisif qui nous permettra d'espérer des positions communes ou rapprochées sur les questions comme la réforme du Conseil de sécurité, le développement durable et le commerce international. Donc, ensemble, l'Afrique et l'Inde peuvent influer efficacement sur le destin du monde. Au plan économique et commercial, le Sénégal est d'avis que l'Inde est et restera un partenaire privilégié pour le continent africain. Les chiffres de 100 milliards de dollars attendus en fin 2015 pour les échanges commerciaux globaux et les 50 milliards de dollars investis ces 10 dernières années par les entreprises indiennes en Afrique peuvent bien être dépassés. Pour cela, l'approche et la mise en œuvre de ce partenariat économique entre l'Inde et l'Afrique méritent d'être revues en vue de permettre à nos pays de tirer un meilleur profit de l'expertise et de l'expérience indienne dans des secteurs aussi stratégiques pour l'Afrique que l'agriculture et l'agro-industrie, les infrastructures, les technologies de pointe, l'énergie et la santé, pour ne parler que de ces secteurs-là. En effet, nous devons ensemble réfléchir à de meilleurs mécanismes et outils devant aider à accroître et diversifier les investissements privés indiens dans le continent africain, et ce, en tenant compte des priorités de l'Afrique. À cet effet, le Sénégal pense que 2 voies, parmi tant d'autres, naturellement, peuvent être suivies pour atteindre cet objectif. D'abord, mettre en place un dispositif devant faciliter et encourager l'implication du secteur privé indien dans la réalisation des projets majeurs et prioritaires en Afrique identifiés par le NEPAD. Le sommet sur le financement des infrastructures en Afrique, tenu le 15 juin 2014 à Dakar, a adopté le Dakar Agenda for Action, un solide plan pour le financement et la mise en œuvre de programmes régionaux d'infrastructures en Afrique. Ce plan contient 16 projets d'infrastructures tirés du programme de développement des infrastructures en Afrique, le PIDA, et sélectionnés en raison de leur importance stratégique, politique et économique comme projet phare pour les différentes régions africaines. On pourrait citer notamment parmi ces projets la modernisation de la ligne de chemin de fer Dakar-Bamako, le projet hydroélectrique de Sambangalou, le gazoduc Nigeria-Algérie, le corridor de transmission de l'Afrique du Nord, entre autres. Aussi, notre partenariat avec l'Inde devra aider à orienter les investissements indiens vers ces projets africains. La deuxième voie consisterait à trouver un mécanisme adapté permettant au secteur privé indien et africain de se retrouver régulièrement par domaine spécifique en vue d'échanger sur les opportunités d'affaires et de partenariat en Afrique et en Inde par la création de joint ventures, une bonne approche pour le transfert de technologies et le développement de l'innovation dans les secteurs comme les TIC, l'énergie, l'agro-industrie et la santé. Pour terminer, l'Inde a besoin du continent africain pour soutenir son économie en pleine croissance, comme l'Afrique, nouvelle et dynamique, a aussi besoin de l'Inde pour réussir sa révolution agricole et son industrialisation. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Thank you, Senegal, for your contribution, and now give the floor to His Excellency Dr. Kamara, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Sierra Leone. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair, Madam Minister of External Affairs of India and Co-Chair, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, my delegation from Sierra Leone would like to join all other delegations in expressing warm gratitude to the government and people of India for the very excellent arrangements and sound courtesies. Mr. Co-Chair, distinguished colleagues, once again, leaders of Africa have come together to have a summit with India with the objective of consolidating the long and historic relations the country has had with our continent. We do so bearing in mind that we share many common values and similar colonial history, as well as development challenges. And certainly, India, as our colleague from the Gambia reminded us this morning, is a household name throughout Africa. Taking contemporary economic and political developments at the global level, it is advisable to seize the opportunity of boosting economic, technical, trade, and investment cooperation with India. In this regard, we are to improve our relations in trade, manufacturing, agriculture, health, education, transport, and tourism. I do believe India has the appropriate technologies, the capacity, and the understanding of Africa, and a tremendous potential to help us forge ahead in line with our development priorities. India's economy is acknowledged as one of the greatest and fastest growing in Asia, and our impressive achievements in technology, manufacturing, and trade have been extolled globally. The African continent is endowed with vast mineral, agricultural, and marine resources. We should not be simply exploiting and exporting these resources in raw form, but should be able to acquire the expertise to transform them into high-quality manufactured goods capable of competing with goods manufactured elsewhere in international markets. A framework of intercontinental, bilateral, and technical cooperation in various areas will therefore help us forge ahead. I am pleased to inform that the Sierra Leone delegation includes officials from the Ministries of Health and Sanitation, Trade and Industry, Education, Science and Technology, Tourism, and private businessmen and investors who, I trust, will engage their counterparts attending this summit towards realizing our goals. I want to believe that other African colleagues have also brought in similar delegations. Colleagues, we are all recognized of the fact that the injustice of not having a permanent seat for Africa in the United Nations Security Council and gross inequality of representation have dragged on for too long. As you may be aware, my president, His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Krumah, is the chair of the Committee of 10 engaged in negotiations for equitable representation in the United Nations Security Council, in line with the Ezulwini Consensus and the Street Declaration. He hopes, therefore, as always, to get the full support and cooperation of India at the United Nations to achieve that goal. Colleague ministers, as you may also be aware, the Ebola virus disease that ravaged the 3 countries of the Mano River Union, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia, devastated all areas of economic and social development in which we are forging ahead. Prior to the outbreak of the epidemic, our countries were being classed among the fastest growing economies in Africa. Sadly enough, we in Sierra Leone lost over 3,000 men and women, of which 200 health personnel, including doctors, nurses, dispensers, and other paramedics. Thousands of children in Sierra Leone have been orphaned. I take this opportunity on behalf of Sierra Leone to thank India, fellow African countries, and other countries, and international organizations and non-governmental organizations who have rendered help to our country in the form of medical personnel, medication, finance, equipment, etc., to the end of the tragedy. The 3 governments of the Mano River Union have embarked on massive post-Ebola recovery programs, and we welcome assistance in all these areas that have been tremendously hit, especially the public health sector and education sector. In view of this, the respective ministers are attending this occasion and are willing to have bilateral appointments and meetings with their counterparts and other interested organizations and individuals. Mr. Co-Chair, we welcome the draft political declaration and the framework strategic cooperation as has been looked up by our senior officials. We do support the establishment of a regional review mechanism to guide our cooperation at all dimensions. Hence, a clearly defined plan of action is helpful. We do recommend that substantial Indian lines of credit are dedicated for projects, particularly at regional and sub-regional levels in areas such as transportation, manufacturing, energy, and ICT. These are central elements in our post-2015 development agenda, both at the African Union as well as at the United Nations levels. Excellencies, colleagues, let me end my contribution with the hope that at the end of this summit, we shall return with great satisfaction of having charted a new map in our relations with India towards greater economic and technological advancement and the prosperity of our 2 continents. I thank you for your attention.
I thank Sierra Leone for your contribution and now give the floor to Honorable Koana Mashabane, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa. You have the floor, Madam.
Your Excellency, Mr. Simbarashe Mbengekwi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and co-chair of our meeting of this afternoon, Your Excellency Srimati Susmaji Swaraj, Minister of Foreign Affairs, of External Affairs, the Republic of India, who is represented by General Shri V.K. Singh, retired, Minister of State for External Affairs, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I join colleagues who spoke before me in congratulating the government and the people of the Republic of India for the warm hospitality that we always receive whenever we visit this beautiful country. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you for hosting the third India-Africa Forum Summit, which would clearly take us to a new level of political, social, and socio-economic development. Honorable Chair, allow me to express my own personal gratitude to this country that I spent 4.5 years of my life as High Commissioner of South Africa here in India. I was a translator who wasn't paid a penny over lunch to assist colleagues who didn't know what they were eating. And I promise that I shall charge the fees in rupees at the end of the session. India and Africa have very strong historical ties. Prior to the colonial era, our people have had solid relations with each other, especially in the field of trade. Ours is a destiny that conquered even the subjugation that came through colonization and apartheid. Ours is a relationship in which we share icons like Mahatma Gandhi, who we as South Africans claim as much as people of India would, as much as is the father of the nation in India. We learn satyagraha or passive resistance from him. Many other past heroes who we still respect and love, like our Kwame Nkrumah, our Mandelas, and O.R. Tambo, and many others, help us to continue our resolve to solidify these ties for the mutual benefit of our nationals. Honorable Chair, the coming days of our summit, or during our summit, the course of our summit, will affirm that both India and Africa are ready to craft and drive the future we want. Our continents are unique in that both boast of having youthful populations. In many other parts of the world, the serious challenge that other continents are facing is of aging populations. So therefore, that which is referred to as our challenge of a youth bulge is an advantage. And we therefore, without fear of hesitation, believe that the best resource we have is our own skilled young people, as more than 60% of all our populations are of young people. The challenge we are facing currently, which we need to deal with head-on, is that of unemployment, particularly educated youth unemployment in the rural areas, poverty, which we believe we would be able to eradicate as we had worked together, as South Africa and other African countries work together, chairing the G77 plus China in steering the ship of transforming our post-2015 goals into the Sustainable Development Goals. We also should continue fighting inequality. Globally, Africa and India have a good track record of mutually beneficial relationship, also of South-South cooperation, as I said, that has gone for many decades. Today, India is the leading country in the area of manufacturing, including beneficiation. This is one area, or the second area, that in the Africa we want of Agenda 2063. We say that, yes, our people are our best resource, and we shall make sure that they are skilled, and that we will also would want to beneficiate our mineral resources through industrialization. India has transformed itself through ICT. Before India came into being what it is today, we only knew of Silicon Valley. Now we know that there is another country, a developing country, that has transformed itself as a hub for ICT. On pharmaceuticals, in many areas, many developing countries would find medical support of pharmaceuticals out of reach until India championed the generic pharmaceuticals, and also came upon and worked on issues of energies, amongst others. All these are issues that are covered in our own developmental framework of Agenda 2063. We in Africa aspire to have a continent where development is always people-driven, relying on the potential of our own people. When we say so, we mean also those who know how difficult is it to spend the whole day fetching firewood, preparing meals for families, and making sure that everyone is healthy in the family. By this, I'm referring to our women, and also to uplift the standard of living of our youth. One of the key aspirations of the Africa we want is the improvement of livelihood of our women and youth. And so therefore we call upon for the elimination of Africa's youth unemployment and guarantee full access to education, training, skills, and technology development. Chairperson, our delegation regards India as a partner who can support Africa to successfully implement the technical, vocational, education and training strategy, or for short, TVET, that was adopted by the African Union during the last summit in Johannesburg. Successful implementation of the strategy would result in practical skills transfer to our youth and women alike. We therefore have to ensure that the rollout of the strategy is implemented soon, because our Indian partners have vast experience in this regard. And here I also refer to the scientific research as far as agricultural produce and produce yield per hectare, science and research technologies. As I said earlier on, I've spent a little bit of time in this country. I've been from the northmost in Punjab to I am Ahmedabad to see how India had worked on its own institutions to liberate its own people. Chairperson, our delegation would like to commend the government of India for playing an instrumental role in supporting African Union's flagship projects. This has not only opened and facilitated trade, but it has ensured that for the first time that Africans can trade amongst themselves. because we are very busy now focusing on infrastructure development that makes it easier to cross from one country to the other, unlike in the past where the late president of Malawi said we build highways to nowhere. Now our highways move from one country to the next, and that is making it easier for Africans to trade with each other. We need to speed up the implementation process of the flagship projects and ensure that we set up monitoring mechanisms that will address these concerns and ensure regular follow-up on both sides. So we, like others, would want to welcome these midterm mechanisms that our officials had agreed upon, and we support that. The India-Africa Framework for Strategy for Cooperation has identified key areas of cooperation, which had included the areas that I had referred to, but I would want to include public-private partnership. The ultimate goal of what we really want to get to is to make sure that our people become their own liberators. The continent of Africa is endowed with a variety of mineral resources, which, if beneficiated, can really help us make that which you refer to make in India possible. Because where you have large quantities of mineral resources, we should make in India. But where we think we are much more advanced or we have much more reserves than you have, make in Africa could also make a lot of sense. And that way, we can then be ensuring the win-win situation. Save as in land. We have vast land of fertile soil, which could provide food security for Africans and India if we were to utilize your agricultural scientific know-how, as I said earlier on, particularly that which I had personally witnessed in Punjab. The second smallest state in India that had become a food basket that feeds more than 50% of India. So partnering with India in the implementation of Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, or CAADP, would promote agro-processing industries on the continent. Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, we are now making a call that as we work together to make sure that we unanimously together with developed countries, meaning ourselves as developing countries, under G77 plus China, which is now made up of 133 countries, we could continue working together as we did, and we are sure of success if we do so, as we move into the COP21 UNCCC, or United Nations Framework for Climate Change Convention in France, informed by the principle of common but differentiated capabilities and responsibilities. The last point I would want to make is we are divided ourselves in this room by the Indian Ocean. If you like, we are united together in this room by the Indian Ocean. We really have not started harnessing the potential of ocean economy and all its marine resources, except to chase the pirates. Beyond that, we have not given ourselves time to check on the resources and the partnership of ocean economies between the Indian Ocean, and on the other side also, to a large extent, the Atlantic Ocean. This is it's vital to the health of the entire planet and well-being of our people. It's a major source of food for the people of Africa and India. It is imperative that we tap to these benefits of the blue economy, not only for our survival, but for our future generations. Dhanavad, I thank you.
Thank you, South Africa, for your contribution.